Cool. So is Pete starting or am I starting? I'm so confused.
Pete. Shh.
I guess I am confused. Am I supposed to be doing something?
Yes. You can start. You can just.
You wanted me to introduce myself? Is that what you want me to do?
Yeah. You got to start the podcast just like you always do. Like,
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I got you. Sorry. Hey guys, welcome to the Dynasty Happy Hour podcast. I hope you guys all have some nice beverages. I have some of the good H2O. That's the best stuff for us tonight. We're going to talk about our biggest rookie exposures. It's going to be a really good fun time. Thank you to everyone in the chat for coming out. I know it's past your bedtime, but we're going to have a great time. I got my host, Tim Keller. We got Doug, the Fantasy Father, and Tyler, DHH_Tyler. How we doing, fellas?
Nailed it.
Love it.
I'm sorry. Right. I probably messed up the music cue, but I trust in post production you'll get that tightened up.
Oh yeah, I'll talk to my editing guy, and I mean he's pretty lazy, but we'll take care of it.
All I can do is picture Tyler with like a sock, being the editing guy and talking to himself. Oh, that's a great edit, Tyler. I know, isn't it? Oh,
hey, in quarantine, desperate times calls for desperate friends.
Oh yeah. I don't want to know what else you do with that sock hand.
It's a little crusty, but
yeah, you should put. That's what a washing machine would work well.
Ruin it. It's like a cast iron pan.
It's well seasoned. Well played.
Oh man, what a start! Played.
We're going down the hole already, which is a wonderful. Hey, I'm just happy to be here. I am on the road this week, broadcasting up in New Hampshire. So I'm at a friend's house for the weekend doing a little getaway from my wife and kids and animals, and I have no responsibilities. I've been drinking beer. I've been eating fun food. I've just been relaxing and kind of centering my chi to get back at it and refresh myself going forward. But I'm excited for this week because we are going to talk about rookie shares, like Pete said, and our exposure. Now, I've seen Tyler expose himself to rookies before, like literally. And he almost got arrested once, but that's another story for another podcast.
It's a good thing there wasn't a draft this year, a live draft, because, Vegas, it would have been bad.
There would have been lots of exposure to Tyler. I mean, it would have been.
I have exposure to all rookies.
Literally and figuratively. It's amazing. We are going to talk a little bit of fantasy news, and then we'll get into our rookie exposure. I've got all the data in front of me on who we have, why we have them, where we got them, and all that jazz. Tim, how are you doing? You've been awfully quiet. No, headset issues. I just figured out why Tim's been so quiet. Because he can't hear us. He's shaking his head. We're just going to move on. All right, let's get into some news. Pete, are you up to snuff on what's been going on in the fantasy community these last few days?
Oh, man, I always have my head to the grindstone. I know what's going on. There's nothing that gets past me in this community. Yeah, I know it inside and out, brother.
Yes, and you know what? The good thing is before this show, you learned exactly who Joe Reed was. So you can thank me later for that. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
My secret weapon.
I think Tim is so offended he just had to drop off.
Yeah, he's like, F these guys. I can't do this anymore.
It sounds like Tim. He's kind of got a short filter. Yeah. Can't deal with things.
But he's got beastly calves, so he'll be okay. All right, so let's get into some news. Of course, Pete Carroll, the running back collector himself, he signed one of those old crusties, Carlos Hyde, coming off a 1,000-yard season with the Houston Texans. He's 30 years old. He had 245 carries last year for over 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns. Now, Chris Carson is expected back in week 1. Rashad Penny, he's probably going to be on the pup. I know DJ Dallas was hot in the streets for a few minutes in rookie drafts. People were like, he's going to be the guy, drafting him in the 3rd round. I sat back there and kind of laughed to myself, and I don't own DJ Dallas anywhere. There's a little spoiler alert, 0 ownership for DJ Dallas. Did this kill his value? What's going on with Carlos Hyde? So Pete, when you heard that the Seahawks signed Carlos Hyde, they were talking to Devontae Freeman. What was your immediate take on the Seattle Seahawks backfield? Were you intrigued, or you were just like, here we go again?
No, I think it's someone like who has an addiction, or say sports cards are pretty popular right now and people want like 10, variations of a Jordan card or whatever. Pete Carroll is just like, wow, Carlos Hyde, he's my type. This is my type. He's like, I'm just going to add him to the collection. I'll put him up on the shelf. I'll come home each night, look at my mantle of running backs with the same size, speed profile, and I'll go to sleep a happy man. I mean, this is like the most redundant, useless asset possible, but if it makes Pete Carroll happy, then so be it.
Yeah, Tyler, any thoughts on Carlos hide and seek over here?
I would love to say no, but every time you say no about Carlos Hyde, he just creeps up behind you and then like breathes in the back of your ear just so you know he's there.
He's the new Frank Gore, I swear to God.
It sucks because I aforementioned DJ Dallas. We'll talk about him later on in the podcast, but I really like him still. I think he's a big time buy low, but we'll talk about him later. So yeah, it sucks, but Carlos Hyde is a part of that backfield, and you can't run away from him. You can't hide.
Yeah, that is very true. And congrats if you have him in your dynasty league. Like, he just gained a little bit of value for you as opposed to being worthless. So that's nice. But
I think you got to be excited. There's some running backs where you get worried if they sign them. You see. If you sign like a real good pass catching back, say, they sign Chris Thompson or something, you're like, shit, this caps the role that this guy has. But when they add Carlos Hyde, a redundant skill set, he's not going to, cannibalize all the passing down work. I don't know. To me, it's something I'd be excited about because it's like they're going to add a body no matter what. If they are, it might as well be Carlos Hyde.
Yeah, that's very true. And, it's going to be interesting with Chris Carson because, he's got the hip injury he's coming off of. He has the highest fumble rate in the NFL last year. I think he set a record for fumbles in a season, if I remember correctly. So he might be on thin ice. It's just, I think from a dynasty perspective and even just fantasy football in general, I'm just trying to kind of avoid this backfield because I feel like you're tippy-toeing through a minefield and it just depends on which one are you going to step on and get your leg blown off. Is really what it comes down to. So I'm kind of staying away from it as a whole. Some other news that we got going on. NFL Network's Michael Giardi reports that teams have called the Dolphins about Josh Rosen. So in Dynasty, we all know Superflex is the new hotness in the streets. So are you out on Josh Rosen? He's 23 years old. He was the 10th overall pick just a couple of years ago. I felt that he's been given a raw deal from Arizona and then Miami. And what's his value in Superflex leagues? I can tell you that Tyler and I did a startup, a 14-team Superflex league, 25 rounds, and Josh Rosen went undrafted.
Wow.
So I actually picked him up on waivers for like $3 because I was like, YOLO, I have the roster spots. You just never know. So I'll go to Tyler on this one. I know you kind of liked Rosen coming out as a rookie.
Yeah, I did.
Do you still hold any kind of hope for him, or you just kind of just passed it?
He needs to revive his career, kind of like a Nick Foles did. But Foles had a starting position, and he kind of fell on his face too. I mean, he had the big season with Chip Kelly, and then
Super Bowl and stuff.
Yeah. But I think that's the route he's going to have to take. He's going to have to be a backup, and then maybe via injury he gets a chance to come in and take the starting spot, and then hopefully shows, and then we'll earn a spot that way. But other than that, I don't see him landing in a starting position. I mean, the XFL's gone, so he can't go there. But
what about Canada?
Canada could be, a resurrection type thing. The Kurt Warner route is what we like to call that.
Go to Arena League.
Yeah, maybe bag some groceries, then go play Canada League, Arena League, all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I still think he's talented. I think his head got in the way of a lot of things. He's a very cocky individual, is what we've heard. And yeah, I mean, like you said, he's kind of got a raw deal. Say he lands in the Patriot system, that would be a good spot, and Stidham. But yeah, it's a tough road, and like you said, you got him for free, which is insane. I didn't even recognize that or see it, which is my bad. So,
well, advantage me. Let's go. I think if Josh Rosen wants to wear a face mask on Sunday, he probably will have to work at the grocery store. So
that sounds like a joke that you wrote about 16 hours ago and have just been sitting on.
So I did not write that joke. It just came to me as Tyler was talking. That's how I operate.
That was good.
I should be an improv comedian. It might have been my calling that I completely missed.
You could be my headliner when I do prop comedy.
That's true. You could be the new Carrot Top.
Exactly. Not even skip a beat.
And get like all jacked on roids and have like a plastic face, and you could totally pull it off. I think you could do it.
I'll just wear a mask.
Pete, any thoughts on Josh Rosen, or you just kind of like, yeah?
I mean, I understand why the sentiment is really down on him, but if you think about it, it's not the worst spot. First of all, the Dolphins seem relatively committed to him in that they aren't just giving him away for pennies. You know, Ryan Fitzpatrick is like a 4-pick game away from being out of the league. And we know Tua has massive red flags as much as we all want him to crush with his medicals. So that depth chart could open up for him real quickly. And the Dolphins are playing the long game, you know, the way they're rebuilding smartly. You know, they're not overpaying in free agency. All of a sudden in a year or something, you know, Rosen could find himself, you know, getting meaningful starts for an upstart team. So I don't mind the dart throw on Rosen.
Yeah, he has died, and soon he will be Rosen again.
Wow.
So Tyler, is he the Rosen one, is what you're saying?
I need to get a different hat on if I knew we were doing a pun off, you know. I was like,
we are puns and dad jokes, Pete. Welcome to the Thunderdome, or the Punderdome, as you will, which is a fun game if you can get it on Amazon. Anyway, so one little last note here, couple last notes. So a little Devi talk. Chuba Hubbard tweets to stay tuned for a big announcement. What does that mean? Do we think he's headed to the supplemental draft? Tyler, you're more of a Devi guy than I am. Like, are you seeing any smoke signs here, or are you just kind of like, whatever? Maybe he's having a kid. Maybe he's
honestly, I could see him going to the supplemental draft. I know the NFL said something. It had to have been about 2 weeks ago when we were all talking about the supplemental drafts and dynasty leagues and what we're going to do with them. The NFL came out saying there's going to be no big names in the supplemental draft. Well, this is a huge name. Mm-hmm. A lot of people have him as the number 1 ranked running back next year ahead of Etienne, which is absurd to me, but that's another subject for another day. But if he does go, this goes into the question, what do we do with him? Because he will be eligible to play in the 2020 NFL season, which kind of makes these rookie drafts that you've already had. I mean, what do you do with him? And like I stated before, anybody who goes into the supplemental draft that is a big time name isn't going to be a part of a roster in my dynasty leagues. They're going to have to wait till the 2021 season. That's just how it's going to be. And that's my route, but it's going to be a very touchy subject going into supplemental drafts. But that is the thing. We have somebody on Periscope saying that Hubbard won't be eligible for the supplemental draft. So it's got to be something else. Maybe it's a Jay Glazer type situation.
He's probably just going to be a dad or something. It's like probably nothing.
Yeah, it's probably a Jay Glazer situation where, we got a big announcement, and then he's just announcing that
the lineman had COVID.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. I mean,
he didn't even get the Antonio Gandy Golden had COVID scoop. So Jay Glazer, Bush League.
Also, big announcement, more news. Tim Keller will not be joining us on the podcast due to headphones issues. Oof. And you know, we talk about technology a lot.
He got headphone 19.
This is all because of wireless headphones. I mean, and he's an older man. You would think he would have wired, right?
Yeah, I roll with wired. Old reliable is what they say. I still have a typewriter. I'm just saying.
Rip him off the 8-track player, and let's go, Tim.
It's sad. It's sad to lose someone to millennial technology when just a bunch of old guys. We just want to talk about dynasty football. It's sad.
I'm going to go pour out some V8 for Tim. And we can just move on. So,
do you think Tim is still listening, or that he's so bitter that he can't even take it?
He might be one of the watching ones. I mean, he's got nothing else to do.
He's in a house by himself in complete seclusion. So, like, yeah. Sorry, Tim. I love you, buddy. Well, I'll think of you. I'll still mention you when we talk about our rookie shares. How's that?
Yeah, we'll bring yours up, just not as intense because you're not here.
We'll do it like speed read style, just as exposed. You got J.K. Dominant, like
and
cool. Now Tyler's up. What do we got?
Yeah, I like that. We'll just kind of like be very dismissive. So one last note on another quarterback. So the Jets signed Joe Flacco, 1 year, $1.5 million. He's got $3 million in incentives. You should probably try to trade him for a day-old peanut butter and jelly in Superflex leagues if you can, because other than that,
that's a steal.
I feel that he's pretty worthless. I mean, why are teams signing Joe Flacco? I mean, maybe Cam Newton wants crazy money, but like, I saw the video of Cam Newton working out, taking 6-step drops. He was deep passes were on the money. Like Cam, he looks shredded to me. Says he wants to play. He just wants an opportunity. Would even be a backup. Like, but Joe Flacco gets signed.
That makes me laugh when you talk about a 6-step drop back, because I think that's all Cam Newton knows. He doesn't know the quick fire 3-step. That's not in his blood. All he can do is a 6-step. So
maybe he does like a drank and a 2-step instead.
I won't believe that Cam Newton is capable of playing in the NFL again until he does a 6-step drop, miming a baseball swing like Jameis. That's how you know you're ready to get.
Can we talk about how skinny he is? Like it's insane almost. He's got to be close to 210, and I don't know if that's a good thing because he could fall apart.
Hey, maybe he sees that like these mobile Konami code quarterbacks are the thing, and Jameis is like, you know what? I'm gonna drop weight and I'm gonna start running.
He's changed his entire life. He gets LASIK surgery. He drops weight. He's playing baseball out there on the football field. I mean, he's a new man.
And he used to play baseball at Florida State. He was like their closer.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's like the tight end who played basketball. You can never forget that Jameis played a little bit of baseball.
That's right. So maybe he learned. He's like, you know what? He sees Taysom Hill and what he can do, and he's like, you know what? I want to be like Taysom Hill. I want to run the football. I want to be brought into the goal line and be running jet sweeps. Like Jameis is a new man, Pete. I agree.
Here's my Hardy Boys investigation. If football doesn't work,
like Jeff Hardy or Matt Hardy,
the Hardy Boys.
Oh.
The books. Come on, Doug.
I thought we were talking wrestling. Sorry.
No. He's trying out for football. Like he's showing his football skills. But if that doesn't work, he can just send the same tape to any baseball team. Be like, check out the swing.
It's two birds. I mean, you can't go back out there and record another video at the batting cages. You kill two birds with one stone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And I love how Jameis has his own logo.
I tried to think about that. Like I see the 3.
It's the J3, like Jameis 3. It's like TB12.
I was thinking there could be a W, and my stupid ass was trying to figure out where the W was the whole time. I'm like, where's this W?
I think it's just J3.
Yeah, it took me like 30
Seems
minutes to figure that out.
He'd try to be his own brand. I mean, it's whatever.
And honestly, he looks like Teddy Bridgewater with the weight he has lost. And when I first watched him, I'm like, that's just Teddy. Saints are taking a video of Teddy right now.
Wow, this would be the ultimate conspiracy theory. That's not actually Jameis. Teddy is still in New Orleans.
Yeah, he on game day, he's got a Bridgewater jersey on. He takes his helmet off, and it's Jameis.
That's right.
What?
I mean, what are the two things? What are the two things that Teddy is that the old Jameis wasn't? Skinny and has good vision. I mean, isn't it a little fishy?
I mean, Jameis has better knees.
Jameis had gloves on in those videos too.
There you go.
Jameis has better knees, or actually has knees. So that's probably the big difference.
That'll do it. All right. So before we get into our rookie shares, we got a sponsor. It's Dynasty Owner. Pretty awesome new concept, and I'm going to tell you all about it. So do you think you're smarter than an NFL GM? I think the three of us think that we're smarter than, the Packers GM. You've got a chance to prove that you're the best at fantasy football. So Dynasty Owner is the only patented fantasy sports game using actual NFL salaries and contracts. You manage your team from all levels, owner to general manager to coach. Dynasty Owner is for smart and elite fantasy football players only. So if you're some kind of noob, I guess you could try it out. Go up against some real competition if you want. There's no offseason in Dynasty Owner. The rookie draft matters, free agency matters, and every single contract matters. Come do a startup in 2020 using the actual NFL players' contracts and salaries, and improve your team each year with a 3-round rookie draft and by trading players and draft picks. You can win weekly prizes, seasonal prizes, and compete in Chase for the Ring. The mobile app is up. Tyler's downloaded it. I still have to check it out on Android, but it's also up on iOS. There's rookie drafts going on as of now. It is the month of May. We are almost in June already. Rona season is flying right by. Mock drafts are open now on desktop and mobile browsers. To learn more and mock draft for free, go to www.dynastyowner.com. So now we're on to the main event. And Pete, I got a question for you. This is off the cuff. If you were a wrestler, what would be your intro song?
My intro song. So the one song I loved as a kid off the Jock Jams soundtrack, not Jock. Actually, there's two. There's from the Hardball soundtrack. I love it when you call me Big Papa. Throw your arms in the air, future.
Yeah.
That might be it. And then there was a song on the Jock Jam soundtrack that had like the lyrics like, "When I come into the bedroom, I'm the king of the castle."
That's K7, "Come Baby Come," I believe.
"Come Baby Come." You got it. One of those two songs I think would be my entrance music.
And the fact that I know that off the top of my head is scary because my sports and pop culture brain is just stupid.
You guys want to hear mine?
Let's hear it.
Anything Real McCoy.
Okay.
I mean, come on. That's a classic. Great beats. You can't go wrong. Right?
Still. Sure. Mine would be DMX, and it would be One More Road to Cross. That would be my intro. More if I was a boxer than a wrestler.
Nobody took Savage Garden. Very shocking.
I wanna. It's super intimidating when you're coming down to Savage Garden. They're like, "Oh, dude, I don't even want to face this guy."
Yeah.
He's gonna kiss me in the mouth.
The guy who just won the heavyweight title versus Wilder. What didn't he come out?
Tyson Fury.
Yeah, didn't he come out to like a Lindsey Buckingham or what did he come out to? It was something very non-aggro, but it worked for him.
Yeah, I mean it's you don't want to get him. Everyone's like, "Oh, Metallica, Enter Sandman, he's gonna come into Pantera Walk or something." And no, you're like Seal, Kiss from a Rose, and they're like, "Oh boy, I didn't see that coming."
What about that Rebecca Black Friday? That'd be a great one.
Yeah.
Everyone's ears just bleed.
It's also like a Saturday, and
confuse the guy.
You're a day late, bro. Like, thanks. All right, so let's get into the rookie shares that we have the most of. We're going to start at the quarterback position here. Let's full clarity. So, Tyler, how many leagues are you in that you've done rookie drafts in so far?
I am in 13 total leagues. I have one rookie draft left. And I have the 4th overall pick. So any one of these running backs, which is probably the route I'm going to go, I might have one more share of. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. I could have one more Swift, one more Akers, Dobbins possibly. But I mean, for most owned, I think the only one that matters is Swift and Akers for that could jump up to my most owned running back.
Fair enough. Pete, how many rookie drafts have you participated in thus far?
Yeah, I think Tyler asked me that yesterday and I was wrong. I think I said 4 and then I was going through it today and it's 6. So I'm in 6.
25. I was a little off.
I added 4 best ball ones through, as Doug would say, Rona season. And so I had more than I thought. So 6 total.
Nice. I am currently 1 startup in Sleeper, one rookie draft in Sleeper, and let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rookie drafts on MFL. So I'm at a total of 7.
Thank you for giving us the platform there on as well.
Yeah, you try to use the sticky board and that gives you all your MFL shares. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm on Sleeper too. So I had to do quick math.
Tyler, and did you also notice how comfortable Doug just got for this segment, climbing up on the bed there, laying back?
He's got to beat 2 people at once because he's also going to talk about Tim's teams. So
it's a character switch?
Yeah, it's a character switch type thing.
What it was is my old bones sitting Indian style, my knees started to really bother me. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to lay down here. I'm going to get comfortable. I'm going to listen to the sweet dulcet tones of Pete Overzet and Tyler Gunther and just roll with this thing. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
This is actually live. Yes.
Yeah. Yes, everybody.
My buddy Zach.
Everybody who's listening.
Just so he knows, I mean, we see that 9:31 p.m. Eastern because we could still be faking how this is live. This is like when the celebrities do their Reddit AMA posts and they hold up the dates so they know it's really them.
Yeah. There you go. Validate me. It's in black marker.
Well, you guys are in the future. It's only 8:30 here.
Oh wow, jeez. Now our lies are coming to be revealed.
Wow. Wowzers. I am starting to get aroused, Tyler. Stop it. All right.
So you can't say that when you lay down like that ever. You can't do that.
Hey, I'm being respectful. The camera is above my waist, okay?
Yeah, I come on the show. You talk about exposing yourself to rookies, getting aroused on the couch. I don't know what I signed up for, guys.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Pete, welcome in.
Well, we are really booming on Pornhub right now, but
yeah, exactly. So let's talk quarterbacks first, and I'm going to go to you. I'm going to go to you first every time, Tyler, because I just want to hear you talk because you're in the most leagues. So out of your 13 leagues, expose yourself to the quarterback position here.
I think everybody knows where I'm going to go with this. Doug, you probably do. It's Justin Herbert. I have him in 6 leagues at 46%. Runners up, I have Tua and Jordan Love, the exact same number at 3. I mean, we just got a Tua share. I traded for Tua and UDPL and Jordan Love. But going back to Herbert, he's actually been a pretty good draft pick for me, and I've gotten a good value on him. I got him in the 301 in a home league, which is turning the super flex in 2023. So hopefully I don't have to use Herbert then, but he should be a starter by then, hopefully. And hopefully, this whole entire thing is passed in 2023 and we can actually
if it doesn't, then
then Tim's going to have bigger issues than audio.
I'm going to turn MFL into FML if it's 2023.
Another one I got is I got at 202 in a home league. It's a salary contract league, and quarterbacks are really valued way higher in this league. I mean, if you have a top 12 quarterback, you're getting a first for him, and it's because of the salary and the 6 points per touchdown. So that boosts the value of quarterbacks, and everybody in home leagues love quarterbacks. That's just a known thing. I got him at 108 in a Superflex startup. I actually I drafted DeAndre Swift at 104 and then realized my quarterbacks might not be great in a couple of years. So I traded back to 108 and I moved up about 7 spots in the second round and allowed me to get Keyshawn Vaughn at 203. So I got Herbert and Vaughn instead of Swift and somebody at 209.
Okay.
And then I got him at 407 with rookies in the startup. That's a startup draft pick. That's not a rookie. So I got him at 407. It was a super flex startup. And I didn't mind it. I mean, I love Herbert. And then in Pigs 3, to Rich Rebar, I traded $500 to him for Herbert. And then I actually got more money in a trade to trade Herbert away before the rookie auction. I actually apologize to Rich all the time. Like, dude, I'm sorry. I got offered this. I didn't go out and try to get more value. It's such a hard position because, Rebar is a big name. And I was actually pumped that I actually traded with him. So I'm like, yes, sweet. And then, when I got offered, I'm like, this is going to be weird, but I got to do it. So I actually bidded 457 and won in Pigs 3 auction.
You bidded?
Yes.
Okay.
It's Minnesota. It's Minnesota speak. Come on.
Oh, I bidded on a player.
But I got him at 457 after I bought him for 500, which I love. So, I got him again. I got him in another sleeper league.
You were just walking around with $43 extra in your pocket. Congrats.
Yeah.
Living life. So, Pete, let me hear about your quarterback shares you got over there in your leagues.
Yeah, so not a ton. I have 2 Jordan Loves, which represents my most quarterback shares. I just was like, I had early picks. I was grabbing Jonathan Taylor, CEH over Burrow and Superflex. And then when I was in the Herbert range, I was, scooping up, Rager. And then I just like the value on Jordan Love. To me, it's not if he's going to have value, it's just when. And the Packers have a couple different outs coming up at the end of each year for getting out from underneath his contract. So depending on how the tensions are rising there between Rodgers and that front office, we could see that ending as early as next offseason. One of the leagues I actually have Rodgers in and drafted Jordan Love and kind of hoping for a 2-for-1 situation there where Rodgers moves on and then Jordan Love becomes the starter there in Green Bay. But I'm excited about Love. He fits checks a lot of the boxes of the quarterback production we like to see. And yeah, I mean, the Packers, they made their statement. He's their guy. He's their quarterback of the future. So I got him at 211 or 212 and 3-1 in Superflex drafts. So I'm pretty stoked on that.
Yeah, and I want to go back to the Jordan Love thing. If you think about them taking him in the first round, there's a chance that he starts in 2021 because you want to get a grasp of who you have as at quarterback if you take him in the first round, because you want to have that extra salary cap of not paying a premium on a quarterback so you can spend it elsewhere. So if they want to get that extra cap room, they need to do it sooner than later. So I could see them. I think there's an out where he's only owed, 8 or 9 if they split it up into 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a ability for them to do that. I could see them actually doing that and going with Love in 2021 and letting Rodgers walk. I mean, that's an option because you got to see what he has and what he's offering you. Because yeah, I mean, Aaron Jones is on the books soon to make more money, and they've got to fill some other spots at wide receiver.
So who do we think gets out from underneath Aaron Rodgers first? The Green Bay Packers or Danica Patrick?
Oh, wow, Doug.
I think Danica's here to stay, but
you think so? I think she's down.
I thought the open mic night, I thought those were closed during Rona, but Doug's still getting his tight 5 up right now. You got to appreciate the hustle.
He's getting the red light.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to do what I got to do. So Tim has a 7-way tie at 1 share of quarterback. So he owns one of every quarterback, apparently. I will give you my shares in quarterbacks. I own 3 shares of Tua Tagovailoa. I just got him in my most recent rookie draft. It's a single QB, but 6-point passing touchdowns. I got him at the 112. And then I own him in a league with Tyler. And then I own him in a startup. I drafted him at the 301 in a 14-team Superflex startup. He was my first quarterback taken because I chose to fade the quarterback noise a bit. And I built a really young upside, kind of semi-exciting team. I own Jacob Eason in a couple of spots, Joe Burrow in 1 spot. I own Jalen Hurts in 1 spot. I do not own any Justin Herbert anywhere, surprisingly enough. In my home league, the single QB league that I took Tua at 112, he went at 401. So I tried to trade back into that spot to get Herbert, and the owner would not deal with me. And he's like, "No, I know who you want." And I'm like, "Damn it!" so he ended up taking Justin Herbert at 401. Shout out to my cousin Christopher, you dink. But yeah, so I tried to get back in and get him towards the end of the draft, and it didn't work. And then other rookie quarterbacks, yeah, that's pretty much it. So I've got a pretty diversified share. Oh, I do not own Jordan Love in any leagues. So I am the anti-Love apparently. You guys are all Jordan Love, and my love is lost. So let's get to the probably the meat and potatoes position, the running backs this year. We all know it was a great running backs class. The top 5 running backs, hopefully they'll pay off at their draft capital. So I'll start again with you, Tyler. Shake me down on them running backs.
All right. We're going to go back to DJ Dallas. We talked about him earlier. I have him in 5 leagues at 38%.
You are overexposed.
Runners up, I have DeAndre Swift and Darrington Evans at 4. I would like to get more Darrington Evans. I thought he was actually it. In our script that we have, it was funny because Pete and I were on the script at the same time, and I saw him typing in about his most owned rookie. So I just put, Pete sucks terribly, and it was funny because he all of a sudden moves his cruiser over it and then bolds it and underlines it and just leaves it. And it actually had me going for about 5 minutes. It was good work on that one, Pete. But I have DJ Dallas, and like I said, DeAndre Swift and Evans at 4. I probably will have 5 of Swift, and I would love to talk about him over DJ Dallas, but I won't because DJ Dallas is truly my most owned rookie. I have him also in 2 sleeper leagues, so that is I think I got him late. I got him at 310 in a home league. We drafted right after the NFL draft. I actually traded Dawson Knox for DJ Dallas because I do like DJ Dallas. I think he is a prime. He has a prime.
Why would you trade the next George Kittle for DJ Dallas?
I'm trading the next big time pass catching running back for Dawson Knox. You got to remember, he was.
You'll never learn from your CJ Procise mistake.
I will never, ever give up on CJ Procise. He's somewhere.
He's on his couch sleeping.
And then I got him for $29 in the Pigs 3 rookie auction. I thought that was pretty solid.
That's reasonable.
But the Dawson Knox for DJ Dallas, I had a good amount of tight ends still, and I do believe DJ Dallas can come out winning in this draft. He was drafted in the 4th round, which isn't anything to kind of turn your head to for running back draft value. He's an ex-receiver. He runs very good routes out the backfield. He's a very tough runner. He has Seattle Seahawk written all over him because he wears a
uniform that says Seahawks on it.
He is a no-nonsense type runner, and I have a no-nonsense type bashing that you are giving. I have no nonsense towards that. But I do think DJ Dallas will have some value later on in the season. I mean, look at all these running backs. When you have 3 average running backs in the backfield with Penny, Carson, Carson healthy, I'll say he's a good running back, but when he's often injured, and then you got Carlos Hyde now, I would like to bet on DJ Dallas getting some touches out of the backfield in the pass catching role.
Yeah, and I think we've seen this with the way to play backfields. Like it became a trope, right, with New England because it was such a volatile backfield, but we knew it was going to produce a lot of good running back production. It's just you take the cheapest one, and if it doesn't hit, well, you didn't pay anything, and yet it has immense upside. I feel the same way about the Seahawks. Like the market's probably overconfident on Chris Carson, being the guy, although his price is dropping a little bit. But yeah, take the DJ Dallas flyer. Oh, and the other thing, doesn't he have some receiving or punt return background as well?
Yeah.
Rotoviz has done a lot of good research about how that has been a predictor for success as well, mainly for wide receivers, but just showing that versatile skill set. So yeah, I think DJ Dallas has a lot going for him.
Hey, Pete, Joe Reed, buddy.
Joe Reed. I got to read up on Joe. See, DJ Dallas was on my radar. I did not know about Joe Reed until you kept hyping him up.
Yeah, buddy. He's a freebie. I like him. We'll see what happens. So that's all your running backs that you got there, Tyler? All your diversification.
I mean, like I said, I would love to have talked about I'd love to talk about DeAndre Swift and Darrington Evans, who I think I have a couple bets out there, Darrington Evans, that he will be within like 80 PPR points of Derrick Henry this year. And I love that bet.
That's pretty bold.
I mean, is it though?
Yeah.
PPR.
Yeah. How many passes did Deion Lewis catch last year?
I mean, Deion Lewis is Deion Lewis. We can't compare the two players.
Similar role. Like, why not? Why can't you compare
them?
Is
it though?
I think so. I mean, they're not going to take carries away from Derrick Henry. They're going to run him into the ground and then let him be a free agent next year. Like, come on. That's what the NFL does. They put him in the meat grinder. Here's your hamburger.
I'm answering your complaints with a question back.
It's fine. Thank you, 40-year-old virgin. I appreciate it.
Do you like to do it yourself?
Exactly. I know all your tricks, Tyler. I'm too keen on you. All right, Pete, break down your running backs for me. What you got?
Yeah, so I'm a notorious running back hater, and combine that with absolutely loving this wide receiver class. I was not taking any of the kind of top 5 backs. I mean, I do have a little Jonathan Taylor, a little Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but not enough to tip the scales. The guy ended up scooping a lot in the late 3rd, early 4th, ended up being Eno Benjamin, and kind of a similar thought process to DJ Dallas in that, the Cardinals like Kenyon Drake, and they seem to not mind Chase Edmonds, but this isn't like a truly daunting depth chart, I think, for a running back. And the other thing is the Cardinals, they were pretty weird with their running back usage last year. I mean, the way they were working David Johnson in, their use of Chase Edmonds, like they weren't using him as a pass catching back for a while there. So it was kind of herky jerky in a way that makes me think that maybe this backfield's a little more volatile than we let on. And then as far as Eno Benjamin, had like a really good backfield dominator rating, had those 1,900 yards as a sophomore. He comps favorably to Aaron Jones just physically because of his explosion and agility drills. And I know he slipped really far in the draft, which hurts, but I don't think it's the worst depth chart. And I think this Cardinals offense is going to score a ton of points to the point where you're just one injury away to Drake or Edmonds to where he's a legit fantasy factor.
Yeah, I mean, and Drake is, they signed him to the transitional tag. They're not attached to him long term or anything. So, he could walk as a free agent and could get an opportunity. I really liked Eno's tape at Arizona State. I think he's a potential 3-down back type of skill set. Him going in the 7th round was obviously kind of unexpected. I figured he was more of a 5th round guy, so that's obviously the draft capital isn't there. But we've seen guys, especially at the running back position, that are UDFAs come in and be productive. So a 7th round running back like Benjamin, I think, could absolutely do that. Is arbitrage CH nice. So Tim, I'll give you his running back shares. So he's got a couple shares of Keyshawn Vaughn, and that's a 33% share. And he took him at 203 and 204, which is right around the spot where Keyshawn Vaughn, I've seen him go as early as 111, and then 203, 204 is a pretty sweet spot for him as well. My shares at running back, I've got Jonathan Taylor in a couple of leagues, and Joshua Kelly are my 2 most owned rookies. I actually have Jonathan Taylor in 3 leagues if you count Sleeper, and Joshua Kelly in 2. Now, Taylor, I took at the 102 in both of those leagues that I have him in. And in that startup that I talked about earlier on Sleeper, I took him at the 214. So right at the end of the 2nd round in that 14-team league is where I took Taylor. Josh Kelly, I've continually got at the end of the 3rd round, and he's kind of like that. Every year, I like to try to throw a dart at a late 3rd round running back. I was able to hit on it a few years ago with Aaron Jones. Not to say Josh Kelly is going to be Aaron Jones, but I think there's a narrative that you can draw where Josh Kelly is going to be relevant in year 1 for the Los Angeles Chargers with Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson there. I like Josh Kelly a lot, and I think that he's going to pay off more than what he cost me in the rookie drafts. So I like him quite a bit. Any thoughts on Joshua Kelly from you guys?
No, I like him, but I'm a Jackson type guy. I thought he played well when he had the opportunity, but he's injured all the time. So best ability is your availability, and Kelly seems like a hard-nosed, tough guy that can stay healthy, and if that's the case, he's going to get touches.
Yeah, absolutely. So and I think Austin Eckler is not going to be the bee's knees, but that's just me.
Yeah, and it's like bringing up the Justin Jackson, it's hard to know. Is that going to be a 3-way backfield, or is one of Jackson or Kelly going to get all of those touches that Eckler doesn't get, specifically the goal line carries? And that's why I think he's an interesting bet in case he is capturing a larger share of that than maybe his price would indicate.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of why, hey, at the end of the 3rd round, I'll take at that point, running back is pretty thin. So you know what? I'll take Joshua Kelly. I liked his tape at UCLA. I like the player. So you know what? Why not? At least, and hopefully it can pay off. And if he hits, then, maybe if my team doesn't need running back, I've got depth. I can flip him and make a profit on Joshua Kelly in Dynasty. So that's the kind of way that I look at it. So let's move on to the wide receiver position. Obviously, we know the depth of this class. And Pete said, he likes to fade running back. He's going heavy in wide receiver. So I'm really interested to hear what Pete's got for his wide receiver shares. But, of course, we'll kick it off first with the red rifle.
Yeah. Wow.
Tyler Gunther.
Wow. Way to talk me up on that one, Doug. Oh, I'm really interested in Pete, but here's Tyler.
Hey, he's our guest, and I'm trying to be nice.
Yeah, he doesn't actually care about my exposures.
No, I really want to hear about your guys' kind of draft room and what it was like for the New England area, redraft league that you guys have. But that's for off the air because I'm sure there's some juicy stuff, some gossip.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the story from The Last Dance where Jordan was saying all the teammates were in there with women doing cocaine and stuff. That's basically what the New England fantasy football draft is like.
Sounds about done.
Yeah.
Doug's
Just
alley.
Snap picks left and right.
Yeah,
I heard a rumor that Doug actually went into that draft with a fishnet T-shirt on.
Yeah, well, that is completely true. Yeah.
Yeah. The rumors cannot be confirmed or denied if the nipples were cut out, though.
Yeah. I mean, everyone thinks FF Engineer, Kevin O'Brien's this real straight-laced guy. He's into some kinky shit, let me tell you.
Yeah. Shocked.
All right. Well, I will give you guys my wide receiver, and it is Justin Jefferson, one of my favorite receivers in the class. I have him at wide receiver 1A in the class. My runners-up are Donovan Peoples-Jones at 3, Rager at 3, and then Pittman at 4. I forgot I had him in a sleeper league, so I had Pittman in 4 leagues. Where I got Jefferson in a home league, I got him at 107. Judy was 104, and I took him at 107 ahead of CD Lamb. So people are going to kind of look at me like, what? Why? Well, I have reasons.
I did it for reasons.
In UDPL, Doug, I traded Juju for Jefferson and Ruggs and kind of just blinded trade spree where I did like 30 trades and
You're like, oh, my team needs to get younger, so I'm just going to trade for all these rookies.
And then I traded Hunter Henry for Jefferson and Jimmy Graham before the NFL draft. So we did a startup, and before the NFL draft happened, I traded Henry for him. And then I got him at 113 with Doug. We got him in the Trade Addict 7 League. We actually traded up to get him because I was begging Doug. I said, he's in my last tier. Let's go get him. And Doug gave me the thumbs up. Mm-hmm. So we got him there. And then I got him for $272 in Pigs 3 auction. Jefferson to me is probably the safest wide receiver in this class next to Judy. I think he's going to dominate in Minnesota. Honestly, I could see him being the best receiver in Minnesota sooner than later. Thielen's getting up there in age, but man, I think Jefferson is going to dominate. I still think he's got room to grow. And you looked at his deep ball completion percentage. I think it's like 13 or 12 for 13 for contested catches. That's insane. And Burrow liked him deep. So give me some Justin Jefferson. I'm shocked the Eagles passed on him in the draft. That's another story. But yeah, Jefferson is my favorite receiver in this class. It's not because I'm a Minnesota fan. It's just because he's a damn good player in a damn good situation.
But going to the Vikings, it helps a little bit. There's a little bit of it in there.
He's got a good quarterback too that's locked in there for another 3 years. So
he just wants you to concede like 5% of homerism in your exposure. Just give us a little bit.
I would like to, but it's not. Like Irv Smith Jr. last year was a little bit of homerism. I'm Pete. I don't know if you know, I'm actually an Atlanta Falcons fan. If you can't tell by the jacket, I'm a bigger Atlanta Falcons fan than I'm a Vikings fan. Okay. So the homerism doesn't, like, if it's a Falcons player, give me all that Falcons player. All the Falcons love. Hayden Hurst, I've all of a sudden fallen in love with after he's 38 and almost washed. But Jefferson just fits that system perfect. And I think that if Jefferson would have went to the Eagles, I honestly think Minnesota would have probably traded back or went in a different direction because I think they had their sights on Jefferson all along. So the fact that he fell into their laps after the Eagles passed on him is perfect to me. And I think we had Marcus Grant on last week, and he even said he could be the one rookie that outproduces everybody this year.
Very possible. Our friend Zach is saying Russell Gage season for the Falcons. You know it. Vacated target season.
I like it.
I picked up Russell Gage at the end of last year on almost all my dynasty leagues for free. So I'm hoping that little chip pays off. I've had this knack of picking up these guys that end up having value. Like Alan Lazard, I picked up in a bunch of leagues last year, and now he's apparently the number 2 receiver in Green Bay. I don't know. Like, hey, I'll take it. Whatever happens, happens. So Pete, you say you love this wide receiver class. I'm interested to hear, because I'm being nice, about what your wide receiver exposure is here. I see that you've got a lot of Laviska Shenault, and that makes me very excited.
Yeah, that's my dude. And he wasn't like my dude, like right after the draft. Like I just got to go get him in every draft. It's just like where his price settled. It was like he was falling in drafts. So I'm trading in at 2.5 to grab him, or I'm sitting at like 1.6, 1.7, and I'm moving back knowing Shenault is my backstop, and I'm picking up a future first in the process, or I'm just standing pat at like 2.1, 2.2. And I think he's still part of that more. I think a lot of people view him more similar to like Pittman and Mims and even Higgins. And I view him closer to Jefferson and Rager.
Blasphemy.
So for me, the one knock on him, right, is the injury history. He ran a bit of a slow 40, but that again was coming off of the injury. But other than that, he checks every single box that we want out of a prospect. 6'1", 227. He's an early declare. He's going to start the season at 21 years old. He broke out at an early age. He was really efficient. He was 5th in yards per route run of the 16 receivers who went in the top 3 rounds. So yeah, I love everything about him. 29% career market share. Had a monster, I believe it was sophomore season when he had like 40% share of the Buffalo receiving production. Plus he had 7 rushing touchdowns.
And a lot of carries too.
Yeah, so I'm excited about it. I think it's a good landing spot. I like Minshew. Most people like Chark. I think he complements him well. And I mean, Fournette had 100 targets last year, just inefficient targets that can now go to Shenault over the middle. And I think he's a playmaker. And if the health stuff checks out, I think he's going to smash the value that you're getting him at.
I agree with you. I have Shenault in 3 leagues. So he's in a tie as my heavily owned receiver, and I have him in 3 leagues. I just got done with a rookie draft this past weekend, and I drafted Michael Pittman I ended up with the 206. I traded back. I traded back. Yeah, I traded back a few times and picked up some picks and got Michael Pittman at 206. And then at the 208, I was like, oh, Shenault's still there, and I really want Shenault. He was the clear tier break for me in that particular area. So I traded back into the draft at the 208, and I didn't have to give up. I gave up an IDP player, 2 fourths, and a future pick to get Shenault. And I was over the moon because I think Shenault is kind of the forgotten man. Like you said, I continuously see him mid-second, late second, and people just don't want to pull the trigger because they think Jacksonville's gross when that's the completely wrong process, because he's going to be the clear number 2 guy with Chark. He's got a quarterback that fits his talent. They can give him those touches out of the backfield. Like you said, with Fournette, and if you think Chris Thompson's going to come in there and be a thing, he's never healthy. So I'm not worried about that. Shenault can be an absolute weapon for the Jaguars. And I think that in that range is absolutely perfect. So I love Laviska Shenault. So that's why I wanted to hear your take on Shenault. We are on the same team when it comes to team Shenault.
I don't think I own a share of Shenault. Honestly. I was probably taking
#sad.
I was taking Ayuk before Shenault. Doug knows I'm not a big Shenault guy. I don't know if it's the Cordell Patterson haunting from up here, from when we thought, because I see a very similar.
Is that
game.
5% homerism?
I see a very similar game to the two, and I don't. I think that's what makes me scared, is by seeing Cordell Patterson never progressing into the player. It could just be the player himself, Cordell Patterson, never having the oomph to want to be better.
Cordell Patterson never broke tackles. Shenault's a monster.
Well, also in Patterson's career market share, I think topped out at 20%. So at 29%, Shenault is in just a complete different echelon for the kind of targets he commanded in college. But I think more on the positive side, I think he can offer that versatile skill set that Patterson did, but just with a much higher floor, and that he's proven that he can command targets.
Yeah. I mean, like you guys said, I was actually a fan of Shenault his sophomore year. And when, people were comparing him to Julio Jones, somebody who could do everything, go up and get the ball, fast, very physical. But man, those injuries are very scary. And that, like you said, that's the reason why he's dropping.
Yeah, I'll take it all the time. I'll take that value easily. So, Pete, what other wide receiver shares do you have in your leagues?
Yeah, I mean, to Tyler's point, Brandon Ayuk is the other guy that I thought was just a real screaming value in this draft. I mean, it's so unusual to get first-round wide receivers that late in a rookie draft. And we know the 49ers are super high on them. I think people are just down on him because they're like, oh, it's a redundant skill set with Debo, or, Jimmy Garoppolo is not an exciting quarterback, or I don't know why people aren't higher on this guy. And I personally think it's crazy that he's going after T. Higgins and Pittman and Mims. I mean, I think Ayuk is a slam dunk pick in the mid-second round, and I have a decent amount of shares of him too.
I ended up getting Ayuk at 211 in a league, and I was really pleased with that.
Yeah. I mean, I got him at 209 in a league. Yeah, he's fallen. And when you see Shanahan compare him to a Pierre Garçon, you've got to have your ears perked up a little bit, because Pierre Garçon and Shanahan's system killed it. He was so good for that system. So if he is even 80%, 70% of what Pierre Garçon was, yeah, that's a steal in the late second. And going to Sideline Squib, he had a question on Periscope. What's my ceiling for Shenault? I'd say in 2020, this year, rookie year, since the targets, I mean, you have D.D. Westbrook, you have DJ Chark still, you have Leonard Fournette, and let's not forget Tyler Eifert at tight end. The dream's still alive.
I'm sorry. Did you say Josh Oliver? Sorry.
But I would have to say it's similar to what Debo Samuel was in year one. That's probably your ceiling. 800, 900 yards,
5 or 6 touchdowns.
6 to 8 touchdowns, I could say total, because he'll probably have a rushing touchdown that comes 1 week that you have no idea is coming. But yeah, I mean, Shenault fits what the NFL wants to do these days. So, I mean, if Gardner Minshew can take a step forward, it's going to be huge for Shenault. And I'm just going to be the loser that's left out of all the Shenault love. And I'm just going to be sitting here alone.
You'll make some panic trades and you'll get him on a team or two.
No, I'll probably just bust out my sock and just talk to my sock a little bit. Oh, hey.
You missed out on LaVisca Shenault, Tyler. I know. So let's get to Tim's shares. So he's got Michael Pittman in 3 leagues, and he drafted him at the 204, 207, and 210, which is really good value for Michael Pittman. And then he's got Cephas. What's his first name again? Quintez Cephas.
You can't just say Cephas. It sounds like you're talking about like a foot fungus.
Like Bo Cephas. So he drafted him at the 507, 409, and then in the 19th round in a startup. So he's got him in 50% of his leagues. I've got Shenault in 3 leagues total, and then the aforementioned Joe Reed. So I've picked him up as a UDFA in all these leagues after the rookie drafts. Reason I'm interested in Joe Reed, because he has special teams capability. I think he has 3 or 4 return touchdowns in his career. Can anyone name me the wide receiver 3 on the Los Angeles Chargers depth chart right now?
Yeah, and it's not KJ Hill. It's probably Joe Reed.
Yeah, he was drafted in the 5th round. He's got a nice athletic profile. He's versatile as well. So, you know what? For a guy that's not being drafted, I think maybe because he has a boring name, like everyone's like, Joe Reed, is that just a made-up player? Like, that can't be a real guy, right? Like, it's Joe Reed. But no, if you do your homework on Joe Reed, like there might be something there, and there could be opportunity for him to get on the field in year 1. So for the price of free, I'll take that and then maybe flip it if he ends up becoming a thing. But yeah, Joe Reed is my secret weapon in the UDFAs. Yeah, apparently.
I heard on the DLF even Joe Reed is a 6th round rookie pick, which there's never a 6th round rookie pick in drafts.
No.
And KJ Hill's a 4th round pick, but yet KJ Hill was a 7th round NFL draft pick, and Joe Reed was the 5th round. And like Ryan McDowell said on the podcast, you've got to follow NFL draft capital when you're picking this late. You got to listen to them and trust their evaluation, and because they probably know more than us. I mean, not much.
I've got a really good story about that when we talk about tight ends momentarily. So
okay.
I can go into that right now. I think it's a great transition, so I'm just going to do it because I'm the host and I do what I want. So let's do that. So when you talk about draft capital, this rookie draft that I was just in this past week.
I thought Pete was the host.
I got usurped when Doug laid down on his chaise lounge and pulled his Yeti mic real close to his mouth. Then it was clearly we knew who was in the driver's seat.
That's true.
Come on in, ladies. Let's do this thing.
There are no ladies watching this, Doug.
Damn it. I'm in the wrong business. Anyway, check me on OnlyFans. No, just kidding. Talk about draft capital. So I'm in this rookie draft. My last pick in the draft is at 504. Now, in the 4th round, I see guys like Donovan Peoples-Jones. I see John Hightower go, and a couple of the receivers that went really late in the draft. Michael Warren from the Eagles, running back, get drafted in the 4th round in this rookie draft. And I'm on the clock at 504, and I'm looking through, and I'm like, why is Cole Kmet available? Like, this guy went in the first 45 picks in the NFL draft, and he's not even going in the first 45 picks of this rookie draft.
Because he's tight end 7 on his own team.
It doesn't matter. do you know what the Chicago Bears coaches have nicknamed Cole Kmet?
Gronk, I'm guessing.
A natural. They've nicknamed him already.
I love Cole Kmet, so you're arguing with the wrong person.
So to be at the 504 and take Kmet that was taken in the top 12 picks in the 2nd round versus receivers that were picked in the 6th round, I'm like, what are these guys I'm drafting with doing? This makes no sense. I didn't even need Cole Kmet, but I'm going to draft him for value, put him on my taxi this year, and then see what happens. Like, it's just that's too easy of a decision for me to make. Like, you chase the draft capital on a guy. The Bears didn't have many draft picks, and they chose to use one on Cole Kmet when they have 8 other tight ends and they have Jimmy Graham. Like, Kmet might not hit in year 1, but I think he's going to be a thing. Did you know Cole Kmet, there's 10 players that have ever tested at 6'6" and have run under a 4.7 at 260 pounds. Cole Kmet is one of them.
I think it's 3.
Some of the other names on this list: Rob Gronkowski, Jimmy Graham, Jason Witten, Ben Troop, you remember him if you've been playing for a while. Ben Troop, he was a thing back in the day. And there's one other tight end, notable one on that list too. So he's in a very rare air, Cole Clement. So I was like, in the 5th round, like, yeah, I'm going to slam Cole Clement all day, and took that pick and laughed and ran away. So I own Cole Clement in a couple weeks. That's the moral of the story.
I mean, I like Cole Clement, so nothing wrong there.
And I took him in the startup that we had as well, and I got him relatively late in the startup that Tyler and I were in too. So Tyler, talk to me about your tight end exposure. I know this tight end class isn't sexy, but there's some interesting guys here.
I took the Thaddeus Moss at pretty much free. And the fact that he was undrafted kind of shook everybody. But who is the Washington Redskins tight end?
Jeremy Sprinkle, bro.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Moss is 6'1". He's about 240, so he's the undersized tight end.
He's like
I think he could just slide in right where Jordan Reed was playing and fill right in. I know he had that injury that will probably take a little time to recover from, but he's got all the time in the world right now to recover from it. So hopefully he's got the bloodlines, but I don't think he's even close to what his dad's athletic profile.
Santana Moss, right?
I think that's his uncle.
Isn't he Zach Moss's brother?
Yeah, I mean anything with Moss.
I think Carrie Ann Moss, who played Trinity in Matrix, is his mom, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew he was related to somebody. I just didn't know who it was.
Yeah, and Sonoris Moss or whatever his name was. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Santana's brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
New York Giants legend, Sonoris Moss.
But yeah, I think Thaddeus Moss is a guy that you should go out and get for pretty much free, because there's a lot of opportunity for him to come in and win that spot. I mean, there's not a lot of talent there. You look at the opportunities they had to go draft a different tight end, but no. And when somebody's undrafted, they can pretty much go pick their spot to go play for. And Moss was able to do that.
The reason he went to Washington, they were the first ones that called. The Patriots called, and he went with Washington because they were the first ones. Pretty easy process. They wanted him. They called him. He went there.
Yeah. And if you are a free agent that a team goes for, spends big money on, I mean, by big money, we're talking 6 digits. We're not talking crazy numbers here, but the Redskins wanted him. They paid for him and they got him. So I think Moss is a perfect fit for that team. And hopefully Haskins doesn't overthrow him like he did with everybody last year. And he's another quarterback that's having this crazy workout regimen and getting in shape and finally stopped taking selfies with people on the sidelines. I don't think he can do that anymore. So that's a plus.
You could just take it with like an empty stadium chair. It's fine.
Yeah. Sit with my fans.
I can't wait for the NFL to just like start like, hey, $20, you can get a cardboard cutout of yourself and we can just put it in the same.
Hey, German soccer team did that.
Yeah. The NFL will do the same thing because there's money attached to it. Guaranteed. And people will pay because whatever. And it's a whole nother podcast.
I can see Pete doing that probably like 10 times. Different stadiums, different looks.
10? I'm buying out an entire section. I'm going to have the entire lower bowl at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you could probably get like the lower bowl dirt cheap at RFK where the Redskins play. Like, there's not a lot of people who go to those games anymore anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like they give you a discount instead of doing it at one of the big stadiums. It's all about quantity, I think. I don't know. I've been told that before. So, Pete, tell us a little bit. You've got Cole Clement on your list.
Yeah, I didn't end up getting a lot of tight ends in this draft, but I do like Cole Clement. The reason for, we always know with tight ends, we're going to have to be patient, right? With rookie tight ends. My theory of why people aren't as excited about Cole Kmet is because we like narratives. We like, this is a good running back class. This is an average quarterback class. This is a bad tight end class.
It's to buy the dip, right?
Exactly. So we're clouded by this perception that the entire tight end class in the aggregate is maybe subpar, which could be true. But Cole Kmet is actually really good as a tight end prospect. He's one of the youngest players in the draft. And yeah, he's blocked by Jimmy Graham right now, but with his draft capital and what the Bears want to do with him, you wait a year and then he has the profile to be, he's not going to be a top 3 tight end in the league, but could he be a top 6, 7 tight end in the league? I think so. And so if you have the patience, especially in tight end premium or you got taxi squad stuff, I mean, where he's going in these drafts, mid-3rd round, is pretty insane.
The other tight end on that list, by the way, was Travis Kelce that I forgot.
Okay.
So also, if you look at Clement's physical abilities, from what I said, he reminds me of two Irish tight ends, and it's Tyler Eifert mixed with Kyle Rudolph. I mean, Kyle Rudolph has crazy catch radius, and even though he's not that fast, he just has a nose for the red zone. And Tyler Eifert,
the red zone reindeer.
Tyler Eifert is a very athletic tight end, and I think Clement is also as well. So I could see them two combine to make Clement. I think he's going to be the guy who was in the 600 yards, probably in his best year, double-digit touchdowns. But yeah, he's going to be a guy that's going to be a huge threat in the red zone.
Anything's better than Trey Burton. Let's put it that way. So Tim also has a share of Cole Kmet as well. I'm thinking the only other tight ends that I even own anywhere from this draft is Dalton Keene, and I own Thaddeus Moss in one league, and I was able to get Dalton Keene as a UDFA.
A CSC?
I don't own a CSC at all. I wanted him, but he ended up going in spots where I was like, I'll wait and see if I can get him, but it wasn't a priority. So.
Yeah, he was pretty much the only person available in free agency because it was in a league where we did the startup and the rookies were involved. So he was in the free agent pool, and I put 80% on him because he's like the only named person in the free agency. So I figured might as well. Patriots took a huge flyer on him in the third round. So yeah, I will.
So before we wrap it up here, I want to know, and we'll start with Tyler. What are you already kind of said Chenault you don't own any of, but like out of the players that you've had all our rookie drafts, what is the one player you regret that you either don't have at all or that you wish you had more of, that like for whatever reason you didn't get any because like he got drafted in front of you or whatever the case may be?
So it's funny that you say that because it was CeeDee Lamb until I decided like I need to go get some CeeDee Lamb. Otherwise, I'm probably going to get burned on this. So it was CeeDee Lamb. Okay. But J.K. Dobbins, I have one share of.
Same.
And it was mainly just I took him at 104 in a home league over Swift. And it was just because I didn't have a share. And I'm like, usually when this happens, the player just dominates. And I'm screwed. I mean, this isn't a good talking point for me, like, hey, I get screwed over because I don't own these players because I don't draft them. But no, that's not the case. It's people are higher on him than I am. Like Dobbins is going at 103 right now, and that's a little too high for me. I would rather have Swift because I like Swift's talent better. But I mean, I had to have a share of Dobbins just because if Jackson can be what he was last year, even a little less than that, Dobbins is going to eat in that offense. I mean, it's the exact same offense he played in Ohio State. The quarterback is better, even though Justin Fields is a stud. So Lamar Jackson in that offense, I don't think Dobbins can actually fail. That's the thing. I think he's safe in that offense as long as Lamar Jackson can stay afloat and be the guy. I think Dobbins is, he's going to be a perennial top 15 running back in fantasy once he gets the starting spot in this type of offense. So I have one share of him. Like I said, I have one more rookie draft left. I have 104. There's a chance I could take him there. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Dobbins is probably my pick.
Pete, anybody that you look back and you're like, man, I wish I had more of this guy.
Yeah, it kills me as being a wide receiver truther, not having any shares of the best prospect in this class. Tyler mentioned CeeDee Lamb. It kills me. I actually traded up in a league to get CeeDee Lamb. I just did a little trade to move up a couple spots to insure him. And then in my inbox dropped just the juiciest offer I couldn't pass up on. It was like moving back to 111, picking up a future first and a late second in this draft. And I was just like, you're really going to do that?
I'll take Brandon Ayuk in the late second.
Exactly. So I pulled the trigger and it killed me, but it was just too much to pass up on. And he was moving up to get, I think it was Dobbins there as well. And then I was fighting ferociously to get back in again, and it didn't work. So I wish I had some Lamb shares. That kills me. But I gotta live with it.
Yeah, I could do one more. I don't have a share of Jonathan Taylor because Doug is just being a dickhead and not trading me a share of Jonathan Taylor.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's really rude, Doug.
He's the worst.
Hey, you know what? Whatever. I'm not gonna succumb to your peer pressure, Tyler.
Do it. You're gonna do it.
So the two players that I don't have anywhere that I wish I had, one of them is actually Zach Moss. I don't dislike Zach Moss as much as a lot of other people do. It just was like in that late second round, like I was always taking the Ayuk, the Chenault, like so Zach Moss, like it was just never in the cards for me to get Zach Moss unless I took him over those guys. And for me, he wasn't worth more than those guys were. But I kind of regret not having at least one share of Zach Moss because I kind of low key like him. I don't love him, but I like him. If you know. And then the other player that I wasn't able to get anywhere is Antonio Gandy Golden. The COVID-19 himself. So AGG, I wasn't able to get anywhere. I just think he's a really intriguing player. He lands in Washington. You know, the starting receivers there, we all know about Terry McLaurin, Kelvin Harmon on the other side. But I think Antonio Gandy Golden, small school guy, really productive, just a really interesting player that I was hoping to get late in rookie drafts. And the buzz started to build up on him, and he got drafted kind of in that dead spot where I just wasn't. And, you know, I tried trading up for him a couple times and wasn't able to get there. So I don't own any AGG, so that's a bit of a bummer.
In your extra points for Rubik Cube League, I mean, that's going to kill you. That's going to suck.
A custom, like, 8-sided Rubik's Cube. The guy's, like, the most interesting man in the football world. Like,
yeah.
He's really, and that's kind of why I wanted to share him because I want to root for guys like that. So.
And also back to your Zach Moss share, you know how much I hate him. In my second rookie draft, I actually took him at 205. Just because, like, I don't know, maybe.
Like, what if I'm wrong?
I know, like, there's a lot of smart people on Twitter that do like Zach Moss, and there's a part of me that was like, I needed running back in this league. My wide receivers were super deep. So I'm like, let's take a shot. Let's take a swing. And that's sometimes you got to do that. Sometimes you just got to swallow your pride. And
I like to have my portfolio diversified. So I own a single share of like a lot of players. So like I'll tend to do that too. If there's a guy that I'm razor thin on, like, you know what, like, hey, like I'll take Rager over Jefferson because maybe I don't own him and I own Jefferson in a couple of the leagues. Like, I like to diversify. I don't like to get top heavy on a player because then if that player falls in his face, then my leagues aren't nearly as fun because they've all kind of fallen on their face. So like trying to split it up a little bit when it's razor thin, you know, when you have them clustered in a group.
And a couple last things. I do want to give a shout out to the footballers. They have their UDK coming out. I pre-ordered it. I love the UDK. They're not a quote unquote sponsor, but I just want to give them a shout out. Love the guys. Go get it. You get $5 cheaper than what it is. And Matt Harmon's Perception. They got tons of videos. They've had a lot of time to update this UDK because they've been home. So from what I've heard from them is it's going to absolutely dominate. And it helped me win a league. I drafted with it. I had it for my only redraft league. And I took some people down. And that's always good.
But the most important part is, do they have a section about snap picking in a draft? Pete, have you patented that yet?
I haven't patented it yet, but maybe I should do like a master course in how to quickly pick and own your. And just
fluster all the other managers in the league. That's like, it's just.
How's your sticker game though, Pete? Are your stickers straight or are they very crooked?
I think Doug would probably attest. My sticker game isn't great. I think I sacrifice some straight lines for speed. Would you agree with that, Doug?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you're just like, boom, I want this pick in and I'm ready to go for the next one. Like, get me in there.
Now, my last thing is a lot of these rookies that we talked about are some big names, but Judy, Pete, I haven't heard you about Jerry Judy. What's your feeling of Jerry Judy in Denver?
Yeah, so I do have, I think it's one share of Judy. I like him. I guess I don't get worried about landing spots as much, especially for those top pedigree guys. I mean, last year I was the guy that took AJ Brown at 103 because I was just like, I don't really love the options, but I fucking love AJ Brown and I'm going to grab him here. And because we get caught up in situation and we know it matters way more for running backs. But that wide receiver talent can really rise to the top. And I think Judy is capable of that. It doesn't look great on paper right away, but I think he's going to command targets sooner than later.
Yeah, and you seem like a guy that would maybe like Drew Lock.
You're curious how I'm getting profiled.
You are full of confidence and a guy who probably likes the swagger that goes on in the NFL. And
Pete is a better dancer than Drew Lock. I can tell you that.
I don't know about that. Yeah, no, I do like Drew Lock, and I like the organizations that are like, look, is Drew Lock a top 6, top echelon quarterback in this league? No. If we surround him with top flight weapons, can he succeed? I think so. And we've seen it over and over. Josh Allen, Daniel Jones, these guys. Jared Goff, guys that we're down on that can be propped up with really dynamic weapons. And I don't think anyone can argue against what they've assembled around him. So, yeah.
Peyton Manning.
I would take Drew Lock over, last season Peyton Manning for the Broncos.
I would take myself throwing left-handed over last season Peyton Manning throwing for the Broncos.
Yeah. So I'm excited about that offense. I grew up in Denver. Fantasy has ruined me from traditional fandom, but I feel just the lightest little candle I'm leaving on for my Broncos fandom, because I look at that offensive firepower and I'm like, all right, let's go.
Pete looks back at the Quentin Griffin days and he's like, ooh, those are the days. That Olandis Gary, Mike Anderson.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Yep. They're all products of the offensive line system, man. None of those guys. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think that's going to wrap us up. Pete, before we go, let us know where we can find you, what you're working on. The stage is yours. Get us out of here.
Yeah. The only thing I care about, follow me on TikTok, P Overzet.
Oh, he's killing it. He's
transitioning to the talk of ticks.
TikTok. That's
dominating
where it's at.
it.
I'm giving the Chinese all of my data and directing all of my creative efforts to bombing on TikTok and then just reposting them on Twitter.
Nice. When there's a clone that knocks on your door and you're looking at yourself, you're going to be like, I should have never signed up for TikTok. What did I do?
Yeah, the same thing happened with Jameis Winston in New Orleans. So, it's happening.
Or Teddy Bridgewater.
Or Teddy. We don't know.
I can't tell the difference anymore. It's crazy. So follow Pete on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok yet, so maybe I need to get hyped to the game. I don't know, but you can follow me on Twitter at @TheFantasyFather. You can follow Tyler at DHH_Tyler. Tim, he's floating around in the ether somewhere.
Looking for headphones.
Looking for headphones. So poor Tim. He's probably sobbing, and I would love to comfort him if he didn't live many states away, or if he was
6 feet apart, right?
Yes, I would get one of those extendo arms and just kind of reach it around and comfort him on his shoulder. Yeah, it'd be really awkward, but we're all about awkward. So that's going to wrap it up this week for the Dynasty Happy Hour. Thanks again to Pete, to Tim for the microseconds he was here, and to Tyler. We will see you next week on the Dynasty Happy Hour.